in London. And Laura, as Mark pointed out there, it opens up this sort of certainty and majority, opens up a whole new engagement for the UK when it comes to international relations, not the least of which a likely free trade agreement to be kicked off basically within a month or two in terms of negotiations, Laura.
Yeah, absolutely, and that needs to be done sooner rather than later, not just with the EU, but once it happens with the EU, other countries outside that zone. I want to bring in now Douglas Carswell. He is from the Conservative side of politics. And before, Douglas, I try and explain your political history, perhaps I'll get you to do it yourself. You were once a Conservative MP,
I went
but you
into
quit.
politics to try and get us out of the European Union. I don't think my country should be governed by people who don't live here. So I went into politics as a Conservative. I wasn't convinced the Conservatives wanted a referendum, so I changed sides. I joined UKIP. I triggered a by-election when I did it. I then held my seat as UKIP. I then helped co-found the campaign for a referendum. And I've watched, sometimes with despair over the past 3 years, watching the Conservatives fail to deliver Brexit. But tonight I feel absolutely, wow. It's amazing. You must feel slightly vindicated as well, personally. But what does this mean? Does this mean certainty moving forward? Yeah. This size majority means that Brexit will be done, and when? It means we're going to leave the European Union at the end of January, no question about it. The Queen's speech, I think, is due now for publication on the 19th. I think the legislation will probably pass on the 19th and the 20th. We will be leaving at the end of January. We will then have a year to negotiate a new relationship with the EU, and at the same time we can negotiate free trade agreements with Australia, New Zealand, other countries. We're going to be leaving completely. The temporary arrangements will only last for 2020, and at the end of 2020 we won't even have those. So it's great news. We're going to have what Australia has, which is the right to decide for yourself your own laws, your own immigration policy, to control your own country again. We're talking about the exit poll like it is a fait accompli. It is only an exit poll. We don't have any of the official results yet. Why are you so confident that this is right? Well, you're right to be sceptical. There have been occasions when exit polls have been slightly out. But given the size of the majority that the exit poll is predicting of over 80, even if this exit poll is significantly worse than the 1987 exit poll, which is the worst one on record, you would still expect a majority, Conservative majority, in excess of 50. So I think we can assume, as far as you can assume anything in life, we can assume that Boris will have a majority, and that means we leave the EU and we become a self-governing sovereign country again. Is this the Brexit election? Do you think that was the #1 thing people were voting for? Absolutely. People, I think, were fed up seeing a political and cultural and intellectual elite in this country trying to undermine the referendum result because they didn't like it. Former prime ministers, broadcasters, cultural figures, celebrities, endlessly telling us that we were stupid xenophobes for wanting what in Australia you take for granted, which is the right to make your own laws. And what this election has done is tell that elite to go get stuffed, and it's a wonderful feeling. Once again, this country has been saved by the good sense of ordinary voters, and it's rejected this Brexit blocking agenda of the establishment. Is it really the Brexit blocking agenda, or do you think people were worried about the sweeping socialist reforms Jeremy Corbyn was going to bring? Of course, I mean, you know, this can also be looked at as a comprehensive rejection of hardcore socialism. We've had the most left-wing Labour Party offering a wholesale nationalisation programme to control the economy as sort of Marxist style. And the ordinary people of England have said, no, we're not having that. And that's wonderfully reassuring. People actually, I think, quite like not just being an independent country, but being a free, open country with free trade policies and a free market economy. It's a wonderful time for conservative liberals, if I can put it that way. So what for you now? Well, I only went into politics to get us out of the EU. I feel my work is done. I look forward to cheering on Boris Johnson as he changes this country. There are a lot of things about this country that need to change. We need to make sure that some of our institutions are modernised and changed, and I hope he does that. Douglas Carswell, appreciate your time, and I should say congratulations on your political campaign then. Thank you.